Black laws. Obligation. A legal or moral duty to do or not to do something. The word has many wide and varied meanings. It may refer to anything that a person, now notice that they didn't say, well, a person is bound to do or forbear from doing. Whether the duty is imposed by law, contract, promise, social relations, courtesy, kindness, or morality. 2. A formal, binding agreement or acknowledgement of a liability to pay a certain amount or to do a certain thing for a particular person or set of persons. A duty arising by contract, also termed civil obligations. So as you saw in Black laws, obligations refers to a duty imposed by law. Now that's exactly what they're doing here in Canada, United States, and the UK. They're imposing duties upon our legal person. And they're saying that we're obligated to fulfill those duties, that there's an obligation that rests upon us. And they're saying that some of our duties and our obligations flow out of the contract. Specifically the birth certificate, certificate of birth. They're saying that that's created the obligation for the legal person to abide by their rules and their regulations. But you're human, as you've seen through, hopefully, these video series, you're human. He has different duties imposed upon it. And he has different obligations under law. And those duties and those obligations, they allow the human or the man or woman to step away from the duties and the obligations that are here. Because as you've seen, if someone comes to you and says, you have an obligation to be recognized as a legal person and to perform certain functions for me, you can change that role on the one who's approaching you and say, well, no, I'm not standing in the role or the capacity of a legal person, but I'm standing as a human. Therefore, the obligations you're requesting of me and the duty you are trying to impose on me, I refuse and I don't accept. Now, it's only your agency of the human through the charter that has the right to be free and has the right to freedom that can say that I don't accept that, I refuse. The system that's out there, they want to place a lot of obligations upon your legal person. And all those obligations in one form or another strip you of your human rights, strip you of your right to be walking in liberty and not to be yoked or forced into servitude by others' demands. Well, in Black laws you see obligation. The word, it referred to also morality and kindness and courtesy. And when you strip it and you look into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, it says straight in the beginning that we all should be acting with brotherly love and kindness towards one another. Unfortunately, we don't. So if they're trying to say that there's obligations for us to have morality and kindness and courtesy, why are all those in the positions of power, why have they allowed forms of medium and entertainment and the such to come in that does just the opposite to this and portrays to us destruction and misery and death? If there's obligations that rest upon us, or they're claiming so. These obligations to be moral and kind and courtesy to one another, all of us, these are superior obligations, and this is what we should be striving for on an individual level, each and every one of us. I know sometimes it's hard to act in this way, but if we could learn and reteach ourselves to treat people in this way and to forget the obligations that this system is trying to put upon us, then we're going to start to make a change on an individual level, and it's going to flow out. Because right now all we're concerned about is the obligations that the government places upon us, because those obligations hurt us and damage us in some ways. But if we could free ourselves through our human agency, which we are allowed to do, then we could struggle more and fight more for a worthy cause. That is, taking obligations of being kind and loving and courteous and helpful towards one another. But when you're burdened down with all the cares of the world, it's hard to act like this. You don't have time for others. That's why it's beautiful to be walking in freedom. And I'm very thankful that that I came across all this information a few years ago and helped me to wake up and understand.